When I went to go find information about the story, every single Matrix-driven article read the same way. In fact, just as an example, before I tell you what I think about what's actually going on here, listen to how this article, The Guardian, talks about Andrew. This is the news dump. Probably an AP wire came out and went to everyone. This is what it says. Controversial online influencer and self-described misogynist, Andrew Tate. That's all I needed to see. First of all, he's not a self-described misogynist. He's gone on and on and on about how he's not a misogynist. People who are calling him a misogynist are dumb and also need a dictionary. We've discussed that. But just when you read and consume news, you need to understand where it's coming from right off the bat. So every single article that I went to was saying that. And it was really hard to get accurate information. And to be honest with you, I don't have all the information today because I don't trust a lot of these sources. I don't, and you shouldn't either. So this is what happens. He gets detained, he and his brother, news breaks, everyone's talking about it, and they're all saying that this is about, this is what it says in the article. Now take it with a grain of salt. It says, the 4 suspects appear to have created an organized crime group with the purpose of recruiting, housing, and exploiting women by forcing them to create pornographic content meant to be seen on specialized websites for cost. That's from the prosecutors in the case. So this is sex trafficking investigation, apparently. He's out already. So I'm looking at this all, and something's just not adding up to me. Right? Something's not adding up to me. This is why it's not adding up to me. Well, first off, what I need to tell you is that this guy, Andrew Tate, knows they're coming for him, right? He knows they're coming for him, and he has said as much. He's telling you ahead of time. You've seen the videos where he's like, I would never kill myself. He's coming out there and he's telling you, they've got their eye on me. The Matrix is coming for me. In interviews with Zuby, and I'm pulling these clips for you because I want you to see what he's telling you and listen to what he's saying about what he thinks is coming for him. In these clips with Zuby, did an interview, I don't know, maybe a month ago. Let's play that first one. I want you to see what he says. You got that, Deli? Okay.
Sooner or later, they see you as a problem. They want you to go away. Mm-hmm. And there's 3 stages to that. First, they try and delete you everywhere and cancel you like they've done to me. The second stage is put you in jail for no reason. Mm-hmm. And the third stage is to kill you. So one of my lives have been used up now. So it's kind of scary. You're kind of sitting there going, well, usually at this stage, people go away. But if I don't go away, what comes next? So that's kind of scary. But basically, the media machine, the Matrix, decided that the impact that was having on the populace was...
So listen to what he said. Now, the good news, the bad news is that the Matrix is onto this. They're coming for this guy, right? They think he's bad news. They're worried about him. By the way, they're worried about him because of the content of what he says, largely to give men back a sense of pride in who they are and regenerate that masculinity. That's number one. Also because he calls out Matrix all the time. They don't like to be called out. And they see that this guy's not a coward, right? He's not afraid of them. He's not afraid. And they're like, how do we make him afraid? So they're trying to make him afraid. And more than him, they're trying to make everybody watching him who looks at him and idolizes him. They want to make you afraid. So you become compliant to whatever's coming down the pike from the Matrix. They're not stupid. They're just trying to do it through Andrew. But he's telling you. Now, the bad news is that they are coming for him, right? In one form or another. The good news is that I can't think of somebody who'd be more ready to handle the Matrix than him, right? And if you look at some of the photos of him when they come and arrest him, I mean, he's just like, bring it, bring it. Now, listen, let me say first and foremost, I don't know anything about these charges. I cannot speak to you about what the veracity of the charges are, what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know Andrew. I don't know these people personally. And I don't trust a lot of these sources. So all I know is that there's been no conviction here of anything. And that this is the second time this has happened. He gets arrested and then he's out. So there's a lot. What I do know is that there's a lot that's curious around this for me. I want to play that second Zuby clip quickly. And then I want to just tell you what's curious to me.
Every single organization on the face of the planet is corrupt. This is what I say to people. I say, listen, and I'm going to say this on this podcast now because I say it on every other one. I would never, ever kill myself. I truly believe they're going to come and they're going to try and kill me on a long enough time frame because they tried to shut me up and I won't shut up. They're either going to try and put me in jail, they're going to kill me, and I would never kill myself under any circumstances ever. And the reason I say this, and I say this to people, they go, but what can they put you in jail for? And I'm like, how ignorant are you in your ignorance to believe they need a reason? You believe it's fair. You believe I can get a lawyer and prove myself innocent. That's not how it works. They decide you're guilty long before and they find a reason why. And it doesn't matter what you do about it. You will pay the fucking price.
Okay.
It's not fair.
So he's trying to express his view, which I believe is largely accurate in this case, that the system is deeply corrupt, right? And if they target somebody who they believe is a menace to their structure, to the preservation of their talking point, to the Matrix, if they target you, they're gonna try to get you. Right now, again, I don't know. I don't know what's gone on behind the scenes. I don't have access to any of these investigative files that allegedly exist. I don't know about these supposed accusations. I don't have any of that information. I don't have any of that. But what I do know is that people are supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. That I know. And whether I'm talking about Justice Kavanaugh, who was criminalized on day one, and then we found out there was no evidence, but everybody was willing to call him this and that and a rapist and all of that because it was a convenient talking point for them. And then we found out, oh, there's no evidence at all. How sad. But they had already tainted him. They'd already tried to wreck him and his family. And I know that when this stuff came out about Andrew Tate, I saw a lot of leftists, predictable, and by the way, a lot of supposed conservatives whose egos are wounded by Andrew Tate's talking points. And I'm going to say it, this is going to be controversial, but maybe they don't like what he says about fitness. Maybe they're obese. Maybe they're insecure about this or that. Maybe they're a closet feminist. Maybe they're a feminized man. Whatever it may be, they're bothered by him. Maybe they got, 6 vax times 6 and boosted times 6 and they're bothered by what he's saying about, weakness and whatnot. And so I don't know what it is, but he rubs them the wrong way and they want him punished, even if there's no crime today, even if there's no proof today. And even if there's no evidence today, okay? Now, there's been no conviction. So we can't, and believe me, I will amend this if that changes. But from what I see, there's a whole lot of people willing to criminalize this guy on second one because they don't like what he's saying because it's deeply threatening to the way they live their lives or to the structure that they want preserved. That's what I see. What was curious to me about this is that he has this exchange, Andrew Tate, on Twitter about with Greta Thunberg, right? Greta. She is the face, the baby doll of the climate change movement, right? She's young. I think she's like 19 now, but she's been the face of it for some time. He has this exchange. He tweets at her about, joking about his emissions and all this stuff. She tweets back at him about some ridiculous, it was supposed to be funny. It was lame. And then he makes this video where he's in the video and he's talking about his cigar emissions and he's talking about, he brings out these pizza boxes and he's joking about how, oh yeah, make sure they're not recyclable. And he essentially goes after her as someone who's been brainwashed by the Matrix. True. People were also saying, by the way, they found Andrew Tate based off the pizza boxes. And I'm sitting at home and I'm like, you don't know anything about people like this. Somebody like Andrew Tate, you would think he's going to miss that? You would think he doesn't know that those pizza boxes are in the shot? This is a guy who's got eyes like a Spider-Man, like behind his head. He sees me talking about him right now, even if he's not watching the show. He's that guy. He's got all his bases covered. You think he missed that? Okay, honey. Okay, sure. Sure. Anyway, he has this exchange with the baby doll of the climate change movement. And then you turn around and suddenly people are at his house. I'm not saying that someone made a phone call or somebody did. I'm not saying any of that. What I am, because I don't have proof. What I am saying is that it's a little too coincidental for my liking. Something odd's going on here. And I will tell you this, that climate change, and we have said this on the show time and time again, that is the new talking point. That is the talking point that is going to fearmonger society. That is what's being utilized by the Matrix. I don't care if it's the World Economic Forum or the World Health Organization or who it is. They are coming out and climate change is their baby. They want their 15-minute cities. Oh, perfect little cities created for quarantine just in case another pandemic comes. They've got it all set up that way. They've got all the talking points in line. And all I know is that Andrew Tate is now going against that talking point, right? That's their baby. That is the means by which they get to control you. That climate change is the means by which they are going to try to get digital IDs pushed through and electric cars and all of these mechanisms by which they can control you with a button. And here's this guy who's got a big following coming out and criticizing the face of that movement, who's Greta Thunberg, and suddenly everybody's at his house, right? Suddenly there's police, there's a problem. I'm just saying that the timing sounded odd to me. Again, I don't have insight into what's going on behind the scenes. I don't have insight into I don't have the case files. I can't speak to that. What I can speak to is there's a massive number of people who are willing to criminalize this guy on second one every time, that are deeply afraid of his messaging and are deeply intimidated by what he's saying because they have deep insecurities about their own life and a deep trust of a system that's trying to really, really, really get you and me and everybody else who cares about freedom. They have a trust in that system. And they're bothered by this guy who has a distrust of the system, is waking people up. So I know that. And I know that this guy knows that he knows, he's prepared, he's ready for it. He knows this is coming his way and he's letting you know. So that's my take on what's going on right now. And I'm gonna follow this. I'm going to continue to follow it. Obviously, it was him and his brother Tristan as well. I'm going to continue to talk about this. I'm going to continue to update on it. But remember, it's the message that's the problem from him that's driving them nuts, right? He's talking about men being men, and I tell you every time. And you need to listen when I say this because he's right. And I don't know who else. I just, they can't get away with this stuff if guys are on the front lines, their masculinity is intact, and they are going to say no. If they get those guys, it's over. It's over. And by the way, there were a lot of guys during the pandemic of the last few years. There were a lot of guys that just caved, that I didn't expect to cave. I was like, what? They were like double and triple masked. I'm like, you? So he's trying to wake people up, and that's deeply threatening to the Matrix. So you just got to know. I'm not here. I can't vouch for his character. I don't know him. What I can say is I see that something looks a little suspicious that's going around. The fact that he was banned at all to begin with made no sense. That was warning number one. Why is this guy banned? By the way, is everybody looking for the Epstein files? Does anybody care? No, of course not, because Prince Andrew and this one and that one and Bill Clinton, everybody's protected by the Matrix, right? Friends of the Matrix get protected. We know the game. So this is what I say to you all the time. You see the game or you get played by the game. That's all I'm going to cover from it today because I have Just Pearly things here. I'm going to ask her about it, actually. I want to ask Just Pearly when she comes in a few minutes what she feels about the Andrew Tate situation. By the way, Just Pearly I call her Just Pearly because I love that. I think it's so cute. She was with Andrew Tate a few weeks ago. He did her show. I'm going to ask her, what was your impression of him? And we're going to talk about modern women and the brainwashing that's going on. By the way, it's not just modern women. I can talk modern women all the time, all day long, but these feminized men, man, when you looked at last night, when I looked at my feed of the people going after Andrew Tate, feminized men galore, right? And I'm going to tell you, there is a prototype. I hate to say it, but there is a prototype of the person who can't stand Andrew Tate. And I'll get heat for saying this, but I'm telling you, man, a lot of them are obese. They're unhappy. They're entitled. They're spoiled. They've never really had to work for something in a lot of cases, or deeply lazy and embarrassed about it, don't want to be motivated, are mad that you're getting motivated by him. They believe in the institutions of big pharma. They'll stand by that every day of the week, you know. They're quadruple and vax boosted, you know, waiting for the next one. They've got like their Fauci hat on when they go to the grocery store. I'm telling you, man. There's a type, and almost all the time it fit. They're feminists, you know. They're male feminists. They're female. There is a type here that can't stand this guy. Process that. Think about why. Why can't they stand this guy? Why? Why do they need him to be punished before we even have the information that warrants a punishment? They need him shut up, right? They need him shut up because he's bothering their own self-esteem, because they're all a bunch of babies without backbones, one. And number two, because he's threatening the system that they trust, that they have confidence, and maybe that they financially benefit from. Who knew? Spot a mile away. Oh, a lot of warmongers in there, too. I'm not going to lie. That's another trait. If you want to watch the full episode, you're going to click right here. And if you want to ask me a question one-on-one, you want to do a one-on-one FaceTime with a group of your friends, whatever you want, you need to download Connect right now. Click right here and let's get talking.